Thank you for staying with us. And now the front pages of today's papers, and we're starting with The Nation. Major headline, governors renew pledge to speed up development in states. Subnational helmsmen use Independence Day to reflect on economic reforms, insecurity, others. We have Shoyinka, why accepted renaming of National Arts Theatre after me. Bottom strip, 26 die in Kogi boat accident. How Arise TV reporter died by neighbors. Kale projects inflations dropped to 14%. Pengerson fears collapse of deal with Dangote refinery. Anyao voice Damagum suspension of Akwa Ibom PDP ESCO. And last, Fubara sacks EXCO ready to submit commissioner nominees list assembly. Who's going first?
Let me do Shoyinka quickly.
Okay, Shoyinka.
So yesterday, the president, of course, graced us with his presence in Lagos to commission the former National Art Theatre, now Wole Shoyinka Center for Culture and Creative Arts.
I like the name.
And of course, the person in whose honor it is now named, who had always criticized past government for naming buildings after themselves, said he's been forced to eat his own words. He said he accepted the honor with mixed feelings, despite being a critic of past leaders who appropriated public monuments to themselves. He said, I have to stand up in public and watch my name being put up as yet another appropriator. It just didn't seem very well for me. But he says that why he did it is that, number one, this building holds, brings back memories for him. He's nostalgic about it. He said he remembers the building when it was first erected, and he did when, according to him in his words, I remember this building when it was first erected, and when we did it originally, I think it was called General's Hat because of the shape of the roof. There was constant reconception, every little of what I call the African architectural intelligence in it. He says also that one other reason was because he was nearly electrocuted, and two of his actors who were, performing in the building when the roof had started leaking and the pool, there was full of water everywhere. And he had promised himself this building was irredeemable. He said, but the bankers committee, who put 68 billion into this project, has made him eat his words that, the building, the edifice is now global standard. And he said the recreation of this edifice, with it, Nigerians can now watch Africa Theatre at home instead of traveling abroad. I think this brings us back to, we had criticized Minister for Culture and all of that for taking one of our events to the US, and I was wondering, this one, is she Nigerian?
Yeah.
So now, we don't have any excuse. We have an edifice. I remember the old National Theatre, and I remember being there early in the 2000s, and I wondered, what is happening here? If I wanted to use the toilet, we couldn't, and the event chairman was Banire SAN, I'm trying to remember, Moise Banire SAN. He lashed silly out of us. There was a foreigner, I think from South Africa, who also talked about our maintenance culture. But today we have an edifice, and the president also mandated the CBN to create an endowment fund for the maintenance of the National Theatre, so that we'll never witness what it was in the back.
So a fresh crisis in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, is threatening national convention of the party. The party's National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, has voided the dissolution of the Akwa Ibom State Working Committee of the party by the national chairman, Ambassador Umar Damugun. Anyanwu said PDP's National Working Committee never decided on the dissolution of the leadership of the party in the state. A letter was released yesterday, being October 1st, because this is a fresh battle that is locked in, between the National Secretary and the National Chairman. So yesterday, a letter was released by Anyanwu, and it's titled Dissolution of Akwa Ibom State Working Committee. And I quote, my attention has been drawn to the purported press release by the National Publicity Secretary of our party announcing the dissolution of the State Working Committee of Akwa Ibom State. For purposes of clarity, that press release should be discountenanced because there was no formal sitting of the National Working Committee whatsoever in which such a decision was taken. So it is not official. It is not the official position and duties of National Publicity Secretary to take actions relating to the implementation of the decisions of the National Working Committee of our great party. As a result, the purported press release is null and void and of no effect. So they should resolve themselves so they can have their convention and they can move forward.
Yeah, I have the Pengasin story. So the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasin, has suspended its strike. The strike was called to protest the sacking of 800 members of the union by the Dangote refinery and petroleum, and you know that the strike had commenced on Sunday. So the suspension of the strike was announced after 2 days of negotiation between the parties, brokered by the federal government and a conciliator. So the Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Dingyadi, presided over the meeting on the first day, you know, before National Security Advisor, that's the NSA, Nuhu Ribadu, took over. And the meeting was moved to the office of the National Security Advisor, that's ONSA. Now, the decision compelled Dangote Refinery to reabsorb the sacked workers because it is their right to belong to a union of their choice. However, I recall the staff members, he said they will not be integrated into the Dangote Refinery, but posted to other companies of the Dangote group. You know, he had alleged that they were trying to sabotage. Yes. So a communique issued at the end of the meeting reads, and I quote, "Sequel to the notice to stop gas supply to Dangote Petroleum Refinery and withdrawal of services by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengasin, the National Security Advisor, the Minister of Labour and Employment, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, the Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, DG, DSS, DG, NIA, the Minister of State, all the plenty ministers held conciliation meeting with management of Dangote Group and the President and Secretary." This is a long read, though. Please let me just go to, the end. Yes. So after the lengthy discussion, they have resolved as follows: that the Honorable Minister of Labour had informed meetings that unionization is a right of workers in accordance with the laws of Nigeria and the right should be respected. They said after examining the procedures used in the disengagement of workers, the meeting now agreed that the management of Dangote Group shall immediately start the process of taking the disengaged staff to other companies within the Dangote Group. That was okay. And there it says, though Pengasin came out to say that they are not happy with the resolve of the meeting. They expected more, but let's see how that goes. But for now, we don't have any form of strike. Let's go back to work.
I wanted to take a story, but I think we have to go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the papers. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We're still reviewing the newspapers, and we're looking at the Punch. Major headline: Pengasin strike, NNPC laments losses as union halts action. Nigerians languish in prisons after Ethiopia stalls MOU. Kogi boat crash, death toll hits 26, Tinubu mourns. Nigeria's 8-month debt service bills hit $2.86 billion, the CBN. Nigerian arrested for attempting trafficking of daughter to Iraq. Wale Tinubu bags Africa Energy Award in South Africa. Nigeria at 65, Tinubu's reforms yet to ease hardship, according to experts. One doctor attends to 9,083 Nigerians. NARD laments. 853 billion naira crime proceeds recovered in 1 year. And Fubara sacks commissioners, others.
Yes, that's the one.
Okay.
So, my darling Governor Fubara of Rivers State.
Wow. You don't call your darling now. Wow.
He's a respecter of the rule of law.
Okay.
A peace-loving man. I've not even finished Jacole to the chat.
All right.
Okay.
What has he done
He
again?
was at the Independence Day parade yesterday, where he encouraged everybody to work with the president. Also relieved the 19 nominees who he had appointed as commissioner, and who that Sakaman J speaker go and confirm.
What's Sakaman
What is
J?
she talking about?
The speaker of Three House.
Okay.
That speaker is a Sakaman J. It's a street language.
All right.
Go and confirm them. Well, all 19 of them have been relieved. It says that all pre-suspension appointees relieved. So he's looking to send a new list of nominees to the House, to this House that Supreme Court have, acknowledged as the real house, Amewele's house. So he's going to send a list of nominees to them for his commissioners. Also, he's looking to appoint his secretary to the state government as well as the chief of staff to the government in a few days. This was announced by his spokesman, Nelson Chukwudi, and he says that all these office holders were affected by the Supreme Court judgment, which is why I said that he's a peace-loving man and a respecter of rule of law.
All right.
Going
I
forward.
agree with you. We're happy for you. So the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors on Wednesday decried the country's poor doctor-to-patient ratio, which is one doctor to 9,083 patients, describing it as far from global best practices. And a statement issued on Nigeria's 65th independence anniversary, the association announced that with effect from today, October 1st, 2025, resident doctors across the country will no longer take continuous calls beyond 24 hours. The statement was signed by NAD President Dr. Muhammad Suleiman, Secretary General Dr. Shuaibu Ibrahim, and Publicity and Social Secretary Dr. Abdul Majid Ibrahim. They said Nigeria has long struggled with the shortage of doctors, worsened by a steady exodus of health professionals seeking better pay and working conditions abroad.
Yeah.
And according to the Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, he said over 16,000 Nigerian doctors have left the country in the last 5 years, 5 to 7 years, to seek greener pasture in other countries. The consequence is crushing workload on those who have remained, especially resident doctors who form the backbone of Nigeria's tertiary healthcare system. He said medical associations have repeatedly warned that unless conditions improve, more doctors will continue to leave, worsening the crisis. Now, the association said that with an estimated population of over 240 million people and only about 11,000 resident doctors, Nigeria ratios 1 doctor to 9,083 patients. And this is not good at all.
It isn't.
Yes, Nigerian resident doctors work an average of 106 hours per week, with surgical residents over 122 hours per week. This translates to 4 to 5 days of 24 hours call in a week.
Yeah. They are
So he said yes, the workload has dire consequences, not only for the patient care, but also for the well-being of the doctors themselves. More needs to be done to see how this can be resolved. So those that are jackpot, we're not going to tell them not to jackpot, but yes, can they find? I don't know who to appeal to right now, because
let's hear.
This is a sad one. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has expressed deep sorrow over a boat accident in Ibaji, local government area of Kogi State, that claimed 26 lives on Tuesday. He urged emergency responders and transport operators to redouble safety measures on the country's inland waterways. And these 26 people is just the number for now. There's still more. Because this had happened at 4:30 p.m. An eyewitness account and a farmer in the local government, Mr. James Otoga, had told journalists that, there were so many people in the boat when it capsized, and that the boat was people that had gone for funeral, people that were going to market, and that so far, these are the bodies that have surfaced, 20 that they've recovered. Some people are in hospital. There are a lot of bodies are still lying beneath the river, yes. And the first responders, they're doing everything to, bring up more bodies. And the president described the tragedy as shocking and unfortunate, noting that this disease were on legitimate missions to earn a living. He also pressed water transport operators to prioritize safety over profit and prayed for solace for the bereaved and their family, and recovery for the injured. But the good thing is that the Kogi State government has ordered prompt relief measures through its emergency agency, urging the local authorities to coordinate support for victims' families and survivors. Our heartfelt condolences to the families, because nobody should have to go through this as a way of, to transport yourself to go do your business or go about your daily activities. Our heartfelt condolences to
Thank you, Amaka, for that prayer. I have this story. It says Nigerian arrested for attempted trafficking of daughter to Iraq. So the National Agency for Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, that's NAPTIP, has arrested no fewer than 5 suspected human traffickers and rescued 24 victims. This was at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, among whom was a father who attempted to traffic his daughter to Baghdad in Iraq. They said that this statement was put out amid growing concerns about the rise in cases of human trafficking, especially with the rise in the Japa syndrome. They said that suspects. Among them was a retired senior security agent, allegedly a prominent member of the syndicate within the southwest region of the country. As we always say, some of these things cannot happen without complicity of those that, you know, have some influence and power. And they said that this crackdown caught all the actors unaware. So they were not expecting it. They just got to the airport based on intelligence and were able to rescue at least 24 victims.
Wow.
Imagine the number of trafficking that happens every day. Yeah, so well done, NAPTIP. Let's go on to the next paper. Daily Sun. A major headline, Daily Sun, 2027, article opens up. We have Akpabio assures Tinubu of more defection of opposition governors to APC. Court suspends 2025-2026 admissions in OAU Unilag. Ohaneze, political solution way out of Nnamdi Kanu quagmire, insist on ending trial causing more harm. PDP asks IGP EFCC to probe attempt to pay out 12.75 billion naira Osun local government funds as legal fees. 250 billion naira yearly fraud exposes gaps in bank security regulatory oversight. Phone SIM breaches fingered. APC's incompetent administration has diminished Nigeria, says OB.
Okay, can I take jump?
Okay.
Yeah, so ruling published by an education technology expert, Chief Executive Officer of Educare, Alex Onya, on his X page, indicates that the Federal High Court sitting in Enugu, Justice A.T. Shegun Bello, has granted a restraining order against JAMB, directing JAMB to suspend ongoing admissions exercise for OAU and Unilag. And he says that the applicants who brought this prayer before the court have shown that there's a triable and veritable issue before the court, and so he'll be looking into it. So it's certain applicants who are taking JAMB and picked these two institutions in question and brought an expert motion there. Chibuz of Success, Oyeleye Zainab Bayomide, Adedeji John Samuel, Monsurat Aliat Adura Agbemi, and Basi Daniel Insikak. And they had asked the court to restrain JAMB and OAU from going on with their post-UTME exams. And the court has ruled that Unilag didn't confirm that they got the ruling, but OAU confirmed that they had the ruling on Tuesday, and that the legal unit of the institution will look into it on today, Thursday. And computer filing processes are ongoing, but then they will look into it, and JAMB is directed to do the needful. I hope that when the substantive matter is heard, it's easier, that they don't victimize the children in question.
Oh, okay. So I have a story talking about how the level of crime that used to be like a petty thief thing, where your phone is easily stolen, has now snowballed into something very big, making the financial sector lose over 250 billion naira yearly. They said these victims now discover that when their SIMs or phones are stolen, their SIMs are used to wipe their accounts clean. And according to the National Bureau of Statistics, between May 23 and April 25, they said they had recorded 25 million stolen phones already, making it the country's most common crime. They said less than 12% of those phones were ever recorded. Also, the National Information Technology Development Agency, that's NITDA, disclosed that the country loses about 250 billion yearly to cybercrime. And in their assessment, they said it's the SIM swap fraud, weak passwords, among others, are the main causes of some of these incidents. And so some persons were interviewed who narrated their ordeal when their own phones were stolen. It says that, before they realize it, money is just leaving their accounts. And some of them will go to the banks to complain that the banks block their accounts. Even after they have blocked their accounts, they still realize that money is missing from their accounts. And I think it's not just about the SIM being lost. It's also about the banks not taking charge of security for many of their customers. We've had issues like this where you go and complain and they say they are doing something, but then they still see that money is going. And sometimes some of the bankers are culpable in some of this. So everybody needs to really be investigated.
Thank you, ladies. That's all we can take from the papers today. Let's go on a short break, and when we come back, we'll look at our hot topics for the day. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.